Hi, this is Terry Peterson, broker salesperson with More Realtors. I appreciate you clicking through to watch this video about pricing a home. Now, in many ways, pricing a home is like driving a car. Driving a car, you need to think about what's behind you, what's around you, what's ahead of you. Same thing in real estate. We need to look at past sales. We need to look at our current competition, which are active and under contract properties. And we need to look at key indicators so that we can successfully predict where the market is headed so that we can position your home properly for sale moving forward. Now, like an appraiser, in looking at past sales and our current competition, there's some rules of the road. And in comparable properties, we want to look at like properties. So along those lines, we want to look at homes generally in the same subdivision if possible, homes generally within 200 square feet of our subject property, and the same type of property, comparing a ranch to a ranch, two-story to a two-story. We also want to ensure that we don't cross over any major roads which could indicate large differences in price and so forth. As well, we want to pay attention to the construction time frame. We do not want to compare a home that's 80 years old to a home that's 20 years old. And if we have to go outside of these parameters, these rules of the road, then we need to pay attention to, changing school districts, taxing districts, and amenities in the subdivisions that we end up going to, and how they may impact the value of the comparable property to the subject property. Now, like an appraiser, if we're trying to do a good job of establishing what the price should be, we're going to have to look at the differences between properties. And those differences between the subject property and the comparable property. And if there are differences there, then we're going to adjust the sale price or the current active price of the comparable properties to the subject property. Things to take into consideration along those lines are bedrooms, baths, garage spaces, outdoor living space, such as generally just the size of the backyard, but also patios, decks. Is there a pool? Is there a really nicely developed outdoor space that includes, outdoor cooking, fireplace, very, very nicely finished outdoor areas. Inside the property, we need to pay attention to finishes, floorings, appliances, updated kitchens and baths that may be different. We need to look at how the property is positioned, the lot itself is positioned. Does it on the side, back, or front? Does it have a high traffic road or commercial space that backs or fronts to the property? Also, what do the properties back to? Is it back to woods, back to maybe a park, a stream, river, lake, pond? Anything that would impact the value of one lot position to another. Also, we need to pay attention to basements. Are basements finished? What's the quality of the finish? Is the basement a walkout, which generally adds more value to the property than a non-walkout basement? Also, what's the date of sale? If we're in a market that's improving or declining very quickly, we need to know when the date of sale was. We might need to make an adjustment to a property that was sold 11 months ago as opposed to a property that was sold within the last month or two. Also within the property, does it have things like a fireplace or multiple fireplaces, perhaps a nice finished wet bar area, various things along those lines. And if possible, we need to assess the differences between the age of roofs, HVAC systems, and water heaters. So those are items that we look at like an appraiser to make adjustments to try to arrive at a current market value of the property. With that said, we as well need to pay attention to where the market's heading. Are we in a buyer's or seller's market? Market equilibrium from a month supply is considered to be 6 months supply of property. Anything over 6 months tends to be a buyer's market. Anything under 6 months is a seller's market. Now you can see from this report here, a proprietary report that our company here at Moore Realtors has, is we look at the months of supply, in this case in the major zip codes in West County, and we can see the month supply of inventories anywhere from around 2.5 months to actually less than a half month supply in some of the zip codes. Obviously, we're in a very heated seller's market, as those numbers would indicate, and that needs to be taken into account because obviously a lack of inventory and home selling quickly indicates prices are going to be rising. And we also have 3 reports then that we look at and look at them over a period of time to indicate trends such as home prices and number of sales, sold price per square foot, the days on market, and then the percent of original list price to sold price, as well as the current list price to sold price. So those are things that we need to make sure we're taking into account when we're positioning a listing, a new listing to come on the marketplace. So one of the key indicators that give us a little more dialed in look at where the market is heading. And to do that, we need to look at new listings and new contracts, which predict then sales in the next 30 to 60 days of closed properties and what's going to be hitting the market, which again could impact the trends and where the market is headed. So to do that, we've developed again some proprietary information and reports that allow us to compare the last week of new listings to the same week in the prior year. Similarly, we want to look at the last week's listings to the prior week's listings to see what kind of trends are there. Same thing with new contracts. Last week to the same week a year ago, and then last week to the prior week. Again, this is going to give us some good information about what sales, closed sales, are going to be looking like 30 to 60 days down the road. Also, we want to make sure we pay attention to the mortgage interest rate trends. We've been enjoying very low interest rates, historically low interest rates for quite some time, but we've just recently, as of this recording, had a little jump up in interest rates, which could eventually impact sales and home values. Now, as I said, we look at some trends in the marketplace from a report standpoint. In this case, the West County market, we're looking at home prices and the number of sales. And you can see in the red line, the home prices are trending up and have been since 2016. But as well, the number of sales has remained fairly consistent over that same time frame. Pulling back to the 5-county core market, 5-county core market being St. Louis City, St. Louis County, St. Charles County, Franklin and Jefferson counties. Again, we see a nice upward trend of home prices, and the number of sales has remained very consistent over that time frame. Now, looking at West County again, we pay attention to the sold price per foot and days on market. The sold price per square foot is actually a better indicator than the sale price itself because it avoids any anomalies of large sales in any large home sales, dollar sales in any particular time frame, as well as lower end sales. And the actual list price the sold price per square foot provides us with really a more accurate and better trend line. And we as well see then here over the last 5 years that the purple line there is trending up nicely and looks to be in good shape. The days on market, again, we're anywhere from 20 to mid 30s on days on market, which again is a very good number for that statistic. Now we've gone to the 5-county core market, the same chart. Again, the purple line shows a nice steady increase. Days on market as well varies, maybe 10 days on market from year to year. Pull back then to the West County market, look at the original list price to sold price and the current list price to sold price. The original list price being the green line and the orange line being the current list price to sold price. we're seeing basically about a 1% difference between the two lines, which indicates that homes are selling pretty quickly without having to make price adjustments. If we were having to make large price adjustments, you would see a lot more disparity between these two lines. Now, as we pull back to the 5-county market, again, we see a little spread between the two lines through 2019, but in 2020 and 21, we're seeing each of those lines be basically at 100%. In other words, homes are selling at list price or above. And that's indicative of the market we've been in, with a lack of inventory and multiple contracts on properties. Homes are selling at or above list price pretty consistently, generating a list to sold price of 100% in both the original and current to sold prices. So these are things that we want to take into account in looking at where the market is heading, to make sure that we're advising our clients appropriately in the price that they list their home, ensuring that we don't leave any money on the table, and as well positioning well for where the market is headed to make sure that they're maximizing the value of the property. So if you're considering listing your home, I'd love to talk to you. My phone number is 314-918-5151. Again, my name's Terry Peterson. My website is terrypetersonrealestate.com. I do look forward to talking to you. Hope this information has been of value to you and you received some benefit from sitting through this video. And I do hope to be talking to you soon. Thanks and take care.